Hello and welcome to the HeroesHype Amateur Series Beta Finals. Here on Monday, it's the first day of 2 days we'll be doing this. I am Gillyweed and joining me for the cast is Anna. What's up, Anna?
I'm doing my power stance, Gilly.
Wait, me
Super
too,
excited. Power stance, because this is really exciting for us, as well as for these teams, I hope, because the prize pool was actually provided by Blizzard, but actually by you guys who voted for Eye on the Storm, which is our talk show, to win one of the Blizzard Stream Awards, and so we're putting that back into the community, and one of those things that we're doing is this tournament, and I'm stoked to award these amazing teams some cash money for their skills that we've been casting these past weeks.
Cash money, indeed.
Cash monies!
Something important to note, too, is we really want to thank you guys who did vote for us, just like Anna said. And we want to thank these teams who have been here every single week, or most weeks, competing, bringing us really fun games, really interesting things as they grow and evolve and learn new things to bring to our meta. And so to make sure that we are doing that and that it's not some brand new team that's just going to walk in and take this money, we had a stipulation that you had to have played in at least 2 past HeroesHype Amateur Series before. So all of these teams are going to be teams that you know. Just looking at the bracket, we've of course got Wild Growth. Kappa Wolves are back as well. There's Goon Squad, Gaming, Team Solid, Great White North, Pool Play-Doh Some Tangos, The Dinner Excuse, and The Brunch Excuse, Flick of the Wrist, The Plays, Pandemonium, and then the game that we will be starting off the round of 16 with tonight, which is Team Luxury versus Envy Gaming.
Awesome. I don't know that I've casted Team Luxury before. Have you, Gilly?
I have casted Team Luxury before. Drawing a little bit of a blank as to which players, but I think once we get there, I'll be able to remember. I'll be like, oh yes, of course, Luxury. Just because there's so many teams that we cast, and it's still a little bit of a learning experience for us, for these players, but it's really cool that we get to hang out with them and get on the ground floor before they get uber famous and all that.
Yeah, and they will. They will be famous. I'm sure of it. So, what do we have in store for the viewers today, Gilly? What are we going to do today, and then what are we going to do Wednesday?
So today we're going to do round of 16, round of 8, and then the first of the semifinals. We're going to make sure to bring you guys all of the action in the semifinals, because then on Wednesday we're going to do the second semifinal, and then the third place match, because there is a prize for third place. I don't know if we'll be doing that one on stream, because I think it'll probably come down to time, because the finals is going to be the best of 5. The first best of 5 we've ever done here, I believe, in the amateur series.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really fun.
I'm really, really excited about that, to get to cast a best of 5. It changes, the idea for it changes a little bit, even from, you know, a best of 1 to a best of 3, and then from a best of 3 to a best of 5 as well. So I'm hoping that we'll get some really good back and forth games between all of these guys, and all of them, like I said, will be a best of 3 until the finals.
Absolutely. So I guess we have our first match getting set up now, right? How are the teams looking?
They're doing map bans right now, and then they're supposed to be sending the link for us to see the picks and bans. So what kind of things are you hoping to see? Are you hoping to see some specific maps, Anna? Are you really looking to see maybe some Kerrigan play? We know you love her.
Well, you know I'm always looking for that. But I guess if this is your first time watching HeroesHype Amateur Series, let me tell you a little bit about what to expect. This is a place that was created for the Heroes community in an effort to give competitive players who weren't yet pro players a chance to, first of all, show off their skills, and second of all, learn how to compete in a community tournament. So it's a lot of people who are kind of first timing this, or maybe they've been doing the amateur series for quite a while, so maybe they're kind of on the cusp of blowing up. Like Gilly said, this is where some people might go looking to show off games so that they might get scouted and get picked up. So in terms of what I'm looking for here, I mean, this isn't a huge prize pool by any means, but having a little bit of money on the line makes the games more exciting and more competitive. So I'm hoping that we're going to see really the best of everyone's play, because when it's, you know, when you're playing for fun, there are some times where you're like, yeah, I'm supposed to be at my grandma's in like 15 minutes. I guess I got to finish this game, you know, let's push to win. But these games, there's going to be something on the line. So I think we're going to see the teams really kind of putting on their formal heroes suits tonight, and putting on their try-hard pants with that.
Try-hard pants. I like it. I like it a lot. Another thing, too, is like we said before, we are giving $300 as the prize pool here. The breakdown will be $150 to first place, $100 will go to second place, and then third place team will get $50 in that. But why don't you, while I'm getting this set up, just tell people a little bit about Eye on the Storm for those who might not be familiar with it and where this great prize money is coming from.
Sure. So Eye on the Storm is Gilly and my Heroes of the Storm talk show. We do it every week on Thursdays on twitch.tv/misclicks. That's MISSCLIKS, no C in misclicks. Misclicks is a community for uplifting and providing support for female role models in geek and gaming culture, so we always want to thank them for hosting us. But Eye on the Storm was kind of conceptualized as a place for Gilly and I to set aside time each week to learn about Heroes of the Storm, and what we quickly learned was that people wanted to learn along with us. So what that turned into has become a show that covers Heroes of the Storm community, as well as Heroes of the Storm strategy and game and preparation. We always have a guest from the community, usually a pro player, but sometimes Blizzard devs, sometimes streamers, other people who are influencers and important people that you want to hear from in the community. And we always try to spotlight some other things from the community as well, cool videos that we've found, tournaments that are happening, all of that kind of stuff. So it's a show that really grew up around the community that watched it, and so we would love to welcome you to that community. And then the reason that Eye on the Storm is involved here is that what was really cool is that the Blizzard Stream Awards happened, if you missed those, for 2014, and Blizzard invited people to vote for who they felt was, you know, the most educational streamer or the favorite community show, those kinds of things. And we were voted for second place for favorite community show, so we were awarded $1,000, and we're trying to find ways to invest that back in community events as we look forward to launch. So this is one of those events.
Yes, and look forward to more of those too. And meanwhile, it does look like we are into a lobby, and they're asking if they're ready to start the draft. So we are going to be on Cursed Hollow. I'm going to switch over to the draft, and then I will send you the link.
Hooray! Drafting! I look forward to drafting more and more, Gilly. It was something that was harder for me to grasp from the beginning. I didn't come from a MOBA background, so drafting was a little more foreign to me. And I think I've really come to love it almost as much as the game itself, the strategy of drafting.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, actually, drafting is my favorite part of casting,
yeah.
Which is crazy, but I really love drafting, and as we get into it, it looks like Team Luxury is going to be in first pick, first ban. So we'll hopefully get to theorize quite a bit since we both enjoy it so much. I would not be surprised, and there it is actually. What I was going to say is that we would see a Lost Vikings ban here. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Sylvanas either. They've been banned quite a bit on this map. Remember, they both have really good push potential. The Lost Vikings have a great potential to just sit in lane and passively soak XP, especially when people have to leave lane to go get any sort of map objective like tributes. But Envy are going to choose to ban Kael'thas instead.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that either. I was expecting that we might see a lot of Kael'thas bans from the very beginning of this tournament. Reasons for that vary, but one of them is just a lot of times with new heroes, before everyone kind of figures out how to pull them apart, they come out real strong. And Kael'thas is one of those very strong damage dealers, and right now, the way things are, teams really want to have the good damage dealers, or they want to make sure their opponents do not have them. So a Kael'thas ban is not surprising. And then you mentioned, Gilly, that Sylvanas might be one of those first bans. Well, because she wasn't, Team Luxury is going to pick her up right away.
Yeah, they definitely grabbed her right up. Remember that she has a hero trait, Black Arrow, that allows her to be able to stop structures specifically, also minions and mercs, but it's most widely impacting on the structures from being able to attack. And so she kind of has a mini curse of her own. Of course, Cursed Hollow, if you get 3 tributes, you will curse the other team, which stops structures from attacking. So it's really strong in its potential for you to be able to push. Now, Envy Gaming have gone ahead and grabbed a very early Brightwing and a Jaina as well. Brightwing we've been seeing a lot more lately as a support, and then Jaina is just one of those you always end up grabbing. She's always on some team pretty early on because she has such damage potential, but she also is really good at helping teams push because she does a lot of damage to structures. She does really good siege damage.
Absolutely. Interesting that they prioritized Brightwing as their first pick alongside Jaina. A lot of times we see the damage dealers being picked first because they are so important. But Brightwing, of course, has a lot of mobility, and on this map that can be very handy as you're going to see a lot of skirmishes around these tributes spawning in Cursed Hollow. Do you know of any other reasons, being the Brightwing expert that you are, why they might have prioritized getting Brightwing right away?
Well, Brightwing is thought to be very, very strong right now in the meta because of her applicability and, of course, her phase shift where she can get around to a map. Even if she dies, she can get back to a team really fast. As soon as she spawns, she can teleport in. But also, her healing is maybe thought, there's been some discussions that it might be bugged just slightly in that her self-healing is increased. It definitely was increased, but whether or not as a bug is what remains to be seen. But her passive healing on herself is greater right now. She was already a fantastic person to lane. She can hold a lane all by herself, and she's a support. There's not a lot of supports you can say that about. She does great damage.
Right.
She has really good, like, she's able to escape, and then of course now with her healing, she's a beast in lane, and she can stay in lane and collect experience until the last possible second before teleporting in for a fight. So
Which can be really important here for sure.
Exactly right. So I think that's why they're just going ahead and prioritizing the Brightwing. Now Luxury has gone ahead and picked up two of the buggy type heroes. We've got Anubarak as a tank and then Zagara as well. And so Zagara and Sylvanas together are going to have huge siege potential, but what I wanted to point out is that with Anubarak, we may be seeing another tank here from Luxury as we've started to see people start to go back toward that two tank meta of yonder years or months.
Yeah, interesting too, because the reason you're mentioning that, I assume, is because Anubarak is not very tanky for a tank. He's a little bit squishier in terms of tanks. He's definitely gotten some improvements lately where his abilities can be cast a lot faster than they used to, so he has a lot more utility that way. But looking at that team composition, we're not seeing a lot of burst damage right now, and we know that Anubarak is going to need some help with tanking, so we may see another tank. We're definitely probably going to have to see a healer, so that doesn't leave much space for lots of damage. So Envy may now be feeling pretty comfortable with their Jaina and not too concerned about it as they pick up Tassadar, who is a support but also can be used kind of like an assassin. So we have that 1.5 support build coming out for Envy Gaming around a damage-heavy hero. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with next.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a melee assassin from them come out in the end. Somebody who you can throw that shield on and you can get a lot, you can give them a little bit more tankiness. Or we could also possibly see one tank that would normally be a little bit, like squishier, like a Tyrael. But with the ETC, I do like see them maybe grabbing like an Illidan. He's still up. Maybe even a Kerrigan. Kerrigan, Jaina together can be really great, and you've got this great gank squad with ETC as well. So that's a possibility too. Team Luxury now have their final two picks before Envy can answer to that. And I do like that Envy went ahead and grabbed their tank there, the ETC. ETC already is really amazing, but then on top of that, it kind of gives them some options in terms of countering whatever Team Luxury decides to go with here with their last pick.
Yeah, interesting. We see Envy really prioritizing that mobility across the battleground because ETC as well has stage dive available, so he can also be somebody that can be in a lane and come in last minute to a team fight alongside Brightwing. The only other person that can kind of do that is Falstad, so right now Envy has the monopoly on that. Team Luxury taking their time though, figuring out what they're going to do next, and actually they're going to go with Vala, so that damage that they really needed they are going to pick up. So now the question is, are they going to go for that second tank like you mentioned, or a healer that can really keep all of these people alive? I wouldn't be surprised to see a pretty hefty healer here, Gilly.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely be a healer, which means it's going to be on this one person to really have to keep people alive. Vala and Sylvanas are pretty squishy, and Zagara can easily get caught out depending if she's on creep or not. And then of course we talked about Anubarak as well, can be pretty squishy. So maybe an Uther here for a Divine Shield, we'll have to see. I do want to point out that Envy have the potential to have two different heroes with promote, which is just starting to come back a lot more into the meta because of its buffs in the last patch. Both Brightwing has it, which it's insane that Brightwing has bribe and promote. She's such a good laner. It's insane how good of a laner she is. But Tassadar, another really good hero with lane presence, also has the possibility to get promote. They could really be looking at having these lanes constantly pushing as long as they're remembering to use it, and which I'm sure they are.
Well, I thought, it looks like Team Luxury is thinking a lot about vision as well with Zagara and her creep tumor. So originally I had thought it'd be cool to see a Tyrael over there, but Tyrande. But Tyrande obviously cannot do the healing we were talking about where you need to be able to keep these people alive when they're completely caught out. And we will see a Malfurion. So I was going to say either a Rhaegal or a Malfurion would be my pick. I'm really liking Malfurion lately. Tranquility can be so strong when you can keep your whole force underneath it.
Yeah, Tranquility is absolutely amazing. Malfurion, while he doesn't have much of an escape, also has his roots, which are so great at setting up plays too. He has Moonfire, which is a little bit of damage, but also reveals. But his healing is great, especially with that Tranquility, and I think they're definitely going to feel a lot more confident knowing that he is there. They can sit underneath his wings and heal. Mm-hmm. But Envy have gone ahead and grabbed that Illidan, so kind of seemed like they were maybe going that way with Tassadar, knowing that they'd be able to have those shields. But another thing to note too is often teams like to go with things like Muradin or Brightwing or Tychus versus an Illidan, and Luxury doesn't really have any of those things.
Yeah, really smart kind of Envy to pick up Illidan as their last pick, because Illidan is someone that you can very much build a team to react to, and they have opted not to show their hand that early on, so that Team Luxury didn't really have the chance to think about what they wanted to do about Illidan. Yeah,
it's really smart, cool play through that, and we'll have to see if Luxury are still able to deal with that. They've definitely got some squishy people in the back lines who Illidan can go in on, but they have great stun and root potential too between a Nubarak and Malfurion. So if they can lock him down, they might be able to just hurry and swarm him and take him out before he's able to do too much.
Absolutely. Looks like the teams are readying up. I'm excited to see them face off here on Cursed Hollow. And again, this is going to be all best of threes today. So usually you would see us starting out with a best of one. This will be a best of three. So these teams will have a chance to learn a little bit about each other as they progress through this series.
Yeah, so the teams will have to win 2 games. It's possible that we could have a 3-game scenario. That would obviously be my favorite scenario too, but it's cool that they'll be able to learn each other, and maybe even we'll see some bans come out from it from there. But we'll have to see. Cursed Hollow, it's coming up very, very soon. Anna, tell us a little bit about Cursed Hollow.
All right, well, Cursed Hollow, if you're not familiar with it, this is the amateur series after all, so welcome if you're just joining us here in the beta of Heroes of the Storm. But Cursed Hollow is a map that has 6 spawning points for tributes, 3 in the top of the map, 3 in the bottom. And randomly throughout the game, there will be a tribute spawning at one of those locations at regular intervals, and teams will go to fight over channeling that tribute. The reason they want those is if they manage to get 3 tributes, then the Raven Lord will curse their opponents, and that means that their opponents' buildings cannot attack and their minions will only have 1 HP. So that makes a really good environment for them to do a lot of pushing or recover lanes or basically whatever they want. It just gives them some room in the game. It'll be really fun to watch because not only will teams be looking to get those 3 tributes and curse their opponents, but they will be looking to deny the curses to their opponents as well. So when we have 2 curses under our belt for either team, we're going to see teams get very frantic and very dedicated.
That's exactly right, and we're finally loading in. They were readying and unreadying for eternity, but we are now ready. Don't forget, guys, it's best of 3 this time between Team Luxury and Envy Gaming, and we are on Game 1, Cursed Hollow. Let's introduce the teams. In the blue will be Team Luxury, with Habink playing Vala, Malagor on Zagara, Spurbeck playing that Cyberrack and Nubarak, Stoic on Malfurion, and on Sylvanas is Mr. X.
And of course, wearing red, we have Envy. I'm having some game problems here, but yes, Envy Gaming will be in red. Crone will be playing Illidan. Danley for 3 will be Tassadar. Spagooter will be playing Jaina. Insane will be playing ETC, and Monkey Lamps will play Brightwing.
Oh, I forgot about Monkey Lamps, but why does Monkey Lamps have that monkey?
The monkey skin. I know. Well, maybe once they progress through this tournament and they win those sweet little cash money prizes, he can afford to buy that monkey skin.
Looks like it'll be Party Lane indeed, and I think we should request that of him, by the way. If you guys win, you must get monkey skin. Some interesting
Just a suggestion,
you know? Right,
Yeah.
sure. Some interesting talents already. Zagara grabbing Demolitionist, so going to be being able to destroy ammo, take out structures a lot sooner. That's pretty interesting to see. And then we've got Vala, of course, going for the multi-shot builds. And Brightwing grabbed the scouting drone, so not going to have the bribe to be able to take out merc camps quite as effectively. She really wants to prioritize vision, which is key on this map.
Yeah, and she's looking at their opponent team and saying, okay, Zagara can have vision all over the place, so we need to have some way to have our own eyes all over the map. I think that's smart there.
Yeah, I think between that scouting drone and then, of course, the Oracle from Tassadar, they'll be really set on vision, which will be nice for them too. But there it is, Zagara is already starting to spread her creep down here in this party lane. Both sides have 3 heroes here, just trying to get a push. What we're seeing here is Team Luxury would like to get the push. They're the ones who are pushing on the side of their Grave Golem, so that if they can get some structures down later on when they take the Golem, it could go straight into that fort, or maybe even start walking toward that keep. Sometimes we see the red team have 3 heroes in the top lane if they want to just try to get a push of their own. But this time they're concerned enough about the Zagara push that they're just going to try to counter push by themselves.
Yeah, and they're right to be concerned because with Zagara picking up Demolitionist, we're seeing that, I mean, alongside Sylvanas, it's very obvious what this team wants to do. They want to just push really hard the entire game, possibly even not prioritizing these map objectives, and get space wherever they can to just hit on their opponent's structures.
Yeah, I didn't even realize, but you're totally right. Sylvanas and Zagara down here, and the fact that, at least for now, Envy are keeping them at bay, that's really good sign for them, and they've got to be feeling great about that.
Absolutely. In the other 2 lanes, we're seeing mostly just some back and forth. We have 2 tanks here in the mid lane. Spurbeck pushing a little bit close to this wall, ETC having to back up just a little bit. And then we have Vala and Illidan up in the top lane, skirmishing about quite a little bit, but neither one committing enough to do any real damage to each other yet.
I just realized that there were 4 minions promoted, which, do you know what that means? 2 heroes had to take promote. They did. Brightwing and Tassadar both got it, and that's going to be great in needing to counter push. We see Monkey Lamp sitting in lane. She's going to wait until last possible second. May not even teleport in if it's not necessary, just to make sure that she is countering the Zagara. But meanwhile, the tribute is spawning in up here at top.
Yeah, and remember that we won't necessarily see teams always go for tributes if they don't feel like it's a good trade. They don't have to get it if they're not denying their opponents a curse or getting a curse themselves. But it looks like the teams are at least interested in poking around, not committing all of their members to a fight around tribute here. We see Danley for 3 and Crone trying to take it, but Spurbeck being very committed to interrupting, as well as Kabink from the top lane.
Yeah, Malfurion got caught out a little bit in that mid lane, and Envy was able to pick up the kill there, so they got first blood. Remember, with the first tribute, they've got really short respawn timers on the heroes when they die. So Malfurion, if they're still really interested in picking up this tribute, which it doesn't look like they were, he would have probably been able to come back in the amount of time they could have sat and poked. But instead, they're going to go ahead and say, okay, Envy, you can have this, and they're going to go back to laning, trying to not get too behind in terms of experience, because there is always the possibility of getting a tribute that spawns right around one team would have level 10 and the other might not.
Right, and we're seeing that actually you would expect if a team had focused on pushing instead of on getting a tribute, you would see their lanes getting pushed out, especially this bottom party lane where we know Luxury is really prioritizing. But as a matter of fact, we're seeing Envy push very close. Jaina and Brightwing really wailing on this bottom wall.
Yeah, the power of all of those promotes really coming into play. Illidan already starting his merking process. He can merc by himself very early on, and so that's one of the great things about having in Illidan. Now Spurbeck is going after this tower here, so is getting a little bit of structure damage done. But meanwhile, on bottom already, Monkey Lamps and Spagooter have been able to take down both of the turrets and gate.
We see Mr. X and Malagor, Sylvanas, and Zagara actually moving up here to the top lane, saying, fine, we don't have room in the bottom lane, but we wanted to be aggressive. That's why we took this composition. So they're looking for space here. But Monkey Lamps and Danley for 3 are defending quite well. Only one tower going to go down right now, and the next tribute is spawning.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, a team based on pushing you think would have a lot of push going on, but like every lane is pushing against them. Look at this minion push in mid. It's ridiculous. There's a tribute spawning now, and they're just now trying to get up here to try to deal with it, but it may be too late. Now, good impale from that Spurbeck will be able to stop the channel for now, but this is a really difficult position in terms of where the tribute is for Team Luxury to try to get in here because of the way this rock outcropping is located.
Insane is going real deep, but will be able to get out with his tankiness. Crone also doing the same thing, but same thing with Illidan, able to get out as well. No deaths yet here. Oh, actually Sylvanas did go down, so it looks like Luxury is going to back off. They're going to let Envy take this tribute. Now Envy does have 2 tributes, which means if they get just one more, they will be able to curse their opponent. So right now, Luxury is kind of not in the place they wanted to be at this point in the game.
Yeah, Luxury have got to get level 10 before that next tribute spawns. It's so important. I wanted to look at, Brightwing did pick up cleanse instead of those soothing mists. So going for making sure that they don't get rooted or stunned and get caught out with that, as they do have the Anubarak and Malfurion to have to worry about for that. But Zagara went Infest, increasing an ally lane minions damage by 400% for 30 seconds. So her version of the promote there, which is pretty cool to see. Teams really focusing on those. And there's the heroic abilities for Team Luxury. They're feeling pretty safe, followed right away by Envy Gaming.
Really interesting to see these teams reacting this way. I have to wonder if it was Envy's plan all along to be so promote heavy, or whether that was in reaction to the push comp of Team Luxury. But really cool to see kind of teams together defining this game, this map, in a different way than could have been defined. Kabink now channeling the tribute, but getting interrupted as a team fight erupts around. Tranquility will be popped, as well as Stage Dive and Devouring Maw, as well as Metamorphosis. So teams very much committing to this fight.
Insane and Danley for 3 getting very, very low, but as is Mr. X, and Crone is on the case, does take out the Sylvanas. But Jaina does go down, so now it's a 2-for-1 so far. There's only these 3 here left for Luxury, but they do have the positional advantage because of this. And Envy knows this. They're going to back away, knowing that, hey, we don't have to get this. They're not going to be able to curse us. Let's just heal back up, get some mercs, and then try for the next one.
I think Tranquility was really key there, and I really like to see that after our discussion of the draft. We saw that Luxury got really healthy in the middle of that team fight, and Envy was kind of left behind, having to back off as many of their team members did stay alive, but had very little health and couldn't commit to going back in or in that unfavorable position.
Well, all these teams merc up just a little bit. Let's look at the heroic abilities they have. For Team Luxury, there's Strafe, Devouring Maw, the Tranquility, like you mentioned before, Web Blast, and the Wailing Arrow. Meanwhile, Envy Gaming has picked up Metamorphosis, Archon, Water Elemental, Stage Dive, and Blink Heal. So we're going to see more of the healing, more of the sustaining from Brightwing there than something like Emerald Wind.
Does any of that really surprise you, Gilly? It strikes me as pretty standard for this map.
Yeah, sometimes we see the Locust Swarm, and instead we're going to have Web Blast. I really like the idea of having the Web Blast with the Devouring Maw, though, because they have a lot of potential of being able to take people out of fights between both of those. And that really helps them be able to, like, say, okay, we're going to take these 3 people out, focus on these 2 people, and then we can focus on these ones once they come out of the Maw, once they come out of the Web Blast.
I think that's very true, and that can be so defining in this game. If you can pull one person out of a team fight around a tribute, it can be the turning point.
Something really important to notice here is that because Luxury has to defend this, as Envy can get the curse with this, they have a boss pushing on their fort, along with the Brightwing. Brightwing's right there with them. There is a 5v4 here in favor of Luxury, but they're going to most likely lose that fort to the boss. They've grabbed the tribute now, but it will be late as the fort goes down.
Yeah, this is a game of trades, and Luxury was forced to trade their structures for that tribute, and that is not a trade in their favor, as Envy Gaming did not have to get that tribute. Yes, sure, they would have liked it. A curse would have been nice, but they would be just as happy as we saw with grabbing a fort, and were only there to make sure that the rest of Luxury had to commit to grabbing that tribute instead of defending their top lane.
Another important thing is now they're having to defend up at top, and that means that Envy is kind of posturing around this boss here, just checking it, but they do have their level 13 talents, so it'd be a great time for them to get into an engagement. They already have 1 fort down, and they're very close to getting a curse. They've got to be feeling great about that, but now Luxury, making sure to keep up in experience, have picked up their 13 talents as well.
Yeah, let's take a look at those 13 talents. Anything that you see that surprises you there, Gilly?
Brightwing did take Ice Block, so wanting to make sure not to get focused out too much, and Jaina with Sprint too. So they are still really making sure that they have good positioning. They aren't as confident as to take something like Icy Veins, but oh no, Zagara getting caught out, a great face mount, and she did drop the mob but wasn't able to save her in time. And so now there is a tribute spawning. It's going to be a 4v5, and I love this idea from Luxury. They know, okay, we can't go into this, we can't die and then have to defend. So they're going to go after this boss, but Envy is already noticing this and are already back here to try to deal with it.
Ooh, this is so tough, because what Luxury really wanted is to have a boss pushing while they were cursed, because they knew it could really help them with defending. They're not going to be able to do that, as Envy denies them and will come in and grab that boss, it looks like, for themselves.
Yeah, Luxury tried to back off and maybe have the boss attack their opponents instead, which is doing so. And now Spurbeck does go in with a burrow charge, but will get taken out immediately. He's not super tanky. And now he's down. Their opponents are getting pretty close to 16. Sylvanas will go down as well. A Root went down on Crone, but wasn't able to stop him from taking out Vala. And now 4 heroes are down. Only Malfurion is up. There's still a curse for 24 seconds, and this boss is already heading toward the turrets on bot.
Yeah, I was afraid. Oh, poor Stoic.
Malfurion got caught out a bit there.
I was afraid we were going to see that. You can see Luxury getting very desperate. They're in a bad space. And Anubarak probably didn't want to run in there as he just got focused down so quickly in that boss. But at that point, he probably felt like there was nothing else he could do. They needed to not let their opponents have that boss. But it ended up in all of their deaths. So I think that was maybe not the right call there.
Yeah, having a boss push while you are cursed is really rough there. And now they've already taken 1 keep down. Envy are working on this middle keep. The curse is over, but they're still dealing a lot of damage as the golem is still wailing away on this turret. They're trying to just take down the golem before they have to deal with their opponents. But now we're going to see a team fight. And remember, Envy has level 16 talents. There's a really good web blast though, and they're trying to take out Insane, but Krona's already back out of the web blast. Strafe going down as is Metamorphosis, and Spurbeck just gets melted as that Anubarak. A great Devouring Maw does grab 1 person there, and there's the Wailing Arrow. Oh my gosh, that Wailing Arrow, perfect! Takes out the ETC, but it was only Tassadar in that Devouring Maw, and Tassadar is a really hard one to kill.
Absolutely, and we see actually that Envy is not backing off. They're choosing to turn and continue fighting even under Tranquility from Malfurion, and they are taking Luxury down 1 by 1. Crone will fall next if he's not careful, and he will get out even as well. So we have 4 members of Envy still here. Looks like they will finally back off, but what they've done is they have created push in both the bottom and mid lanes, as catapults will be spawning now and attacking that core. They still have all 6 of their forts left, Gilly, so Envy in a very dominating spot right now in this game.
And Brightwing and Tassadar, to add insult to injury, promoted these minions, including the catapult, which means it's just huge on their way out. So now Envy is really content to go back and take their boss. Their opponent's Luxury finally do have their level 16 talents. So they at least have that. And with Anubarak, who has Blood for Blood, a talent that a lot of people really prioritize, they do have 3 Blood for Blood, so quite a bit there. They're going to be able to help burn people down a little bit better, but on the opposite side, Brightwing has Critterize, and then there's the Numbing Blast from Jaina to help root people, and even a Blood for Blood of their own on Illidan's side. So anybody who gets polymorphed is going to be taking a lot of damage, and that's going to spell trouble.
Wow, it looks like Envy is not concerned about giving up the curse to Luxury. They did not even try to go for that tribute. They were not in a great position for that, although they do have kind of the dominating experience lead, but instead opting to grab Mercenaries and continue this huge top push. Even though they're cursed, they're going to put their opponent's Luxury on the defense here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sucky place to have to be in. You're defending on your own curse. And now we're going to be into a team fight as well as the stage dive does slow down a lot of the members. Vala is already down. There is a great Metamorphosis. Everyone's just trying to get back and get safe in the Nexus, but already there's a boss bearing down on the core. They've lost the shields. It's going to go down so fast, and GG, our first game, will go to Envy Gaming.
Wow, what an interesting game. In terms of what we thought would happen at the beginning of the game versus what happened later in the game, I think Promote, like you mentioned, was one of the most interesting pieces of the story of this game.
Yeah, Promote on 2 heroes, and they did such a good job of making sure to use it every time it was up, every time, like when they were leaving. Even if it doesn't mean that they deal more damage, then they still have to deal with the fact that it takes them longer to clear that lane, which means they're in lane for longer, not going after objectives, not taking as many merc camps as quickly, and it really just is frustrating to have to deal with, especially when you've got on 2 heroes.
Well, and what we thought we were looking at here was Luxury, the pushing siege comp, versus Envy, the team fight comp. But what actually ended up happening is that Envy managed to be a pushing comp as well as a team fight comp, and that really was defining for this match. They took this pretty handily.
Yeah, they definitely did. I'm wondering what we will see come out in the next draft phase and what Luxury can do versus Envy in that, making sure maybe they will prioritize having Brightwing themselves, or maybe we'll have some different bands come out. We'll have to see, but we are going to take a short break while we get that second game set up, and then we will be right back